What is up, gamers? Steve here from Pickpocket Press. Very excited to show you some prototypes of some items, some tools that we're making in conjunction with Tales of Argosa. If you've been following the website, our website posts, you will know that Tales of Argosa is basically our work in progress low fantasy gaming second edition. There's some substantial tweaks to it, that we've, there are some real changes that are being made. I'll talk about that in another video, but as part of what we're doing with that, I want to make this game as solo friendly as possible. And also I want there to be a real focus on emergent play. So yeah, the tagline to the game may well be emergent play adventure game down the bottom, all right? Because I really want to hone in on that and try and create a game that supports GM improvisation. And that also works really well with solo, right? Because there's a lot of improvising in that style of play. So we've got two different oracles. Now these are just prototypes. They're probably going to change, but they look pretty sweet, I have to say. The first is the bones.
I will consult the bones.
So these are basically, this set of 4 dice is by and large a yes-no oracle, if you're familiar with how the oracles work. So what you normally do is ask the oracle a question, does the party have a random encounter or some kind of travel event when they move from the swamps here into the forest? Grab your bones. So this is the consult the bones mechanic from Tales of Argosa. Let's see, is there an encounter? Well, yes, there is, and I'll explain. I'll do a proper example in a minute. But this result means yes, there is, and the reason for that is this darker die is the tiebreaker. This is the hammer of judgment. So the yes, this is a yes icon. Trumps the no, yes, there is a travel encounter, and off you go. We're on the travel event table. Anyway, so that's the bones. And then also I've got for you, what is this? This is called the deck of signs. So this is an open question oracle, all right, where you're not just asking yes or no answers, you're asking questions that are wider than that. You go to the deck of signs when you want more detail about the event or situation or person that you're interacting with. And I'll talk more about this later, but yeah, there's 25 cards in here. And basically, so they work together, all right? So you've got the consult the bones mechanic, and you've also got the read the signs mechanic, which is the deck, and they work together along with all your normal random tables and other tools in Tales of Argosa, or whatever, your favorite RPG, because really both of these oracles are very usable. They should be completely usable with any fantasy-based RPG. Alrighty, so let's say the party's here, they're moving from this sort of swamp. You might not be able to see the swampy. Anyway, from the swamp to the forest, yoink yoink, and the exploration rules in our Tales of Argosa book suggest that if there isn't already an event, some kind of hex event for that particular hex that has been keyed, you instead consult the bones to see whether the party has a travel event or not. So let's see, they move from one to the other. Let's roll and see. Oh, all right, so this is actually a pretty interesting result. Let's see. So this is a yes, this is a Y. This is another yes. So there's 2 yeses so far. There's 1 no, and there's 1 misfortune. So a skull is misfortune, and a sun is fortune. And there's 2 of these, 2 of those, and then there's 2 blanks. So in this particular result, the yeses and the no's cancel out. So this goes, and we're left with yes, there is a travel encounter, but skull, some kind of misfortune. This is like a complication or a setback or whatever befalls the party. All right, so travel event, let's go. What is it? 9. A 9 is a natural wonder. Ooh, so... Natural wonder. The party stumbles upon a natural wonder, face sacred site, or other place of special majesty or tranquility. And you can basically try and get rid of madness if you have one, if you spend a day here. Okay, all right, so it's a nice place to rest, but we did get the complications. So I think, you know, in this particular circumstance, I would also make it a little more complicated by saying that we're going to have a random encounter. One other thing with the bones, which I forgot to mention, is that unlike the yes, no, but die, where all results are equally probable, the bones can account for situations where you think the yes or no answer is more or less likely. So let's say, for example, you've got the party, you know, here they are, they're in the village here, they're going to start exploring this hex. Because this hex is right next to the village, you think, oh, well, there's patrols here. You might not even roll, you might say they're safe and move on, but just say you decide, yes, there could be a random encounter, but it's unlikely. In that case, when you roll the bones, if you get a result which is contrary to what you expect, you have to re-roll one of those dice. Okay, so here we go. In this particular case, we got, oh yeah, so here you go, look. You got 2 yeses for an encounter, only 1 no. So the 1 no is going to cancel out the other yes. You're going to be left with a yes. So what we're going to do, we have to re-roll one of the dice, which is contrary to our expectations. No, all right, so now what you get, these 2 cancel. Result is no, there is no random encounter, but there is some kind of complication. So maybe they don't, you know, the GM will ad-lib something, or might even draw from the deck of signs to decide what that complication is to help them decide. Oh, here you go. We've got undead, leeching, unhinged, terrifying. All right, well, that's interesting. I would say something could be really cool, like there's no random encounter, but overhead, terrifying, there was some, you know, a wyvern. It was flying towards the mountains, and the party, you know, quickly was able to scatter and hide under some low brush or something in these grasslands and avoid the wyvern. Yeah, so that's just something else I forgot to mention about the bones. Let's roll for a forest encounter. 13. Let's see. Random encounter, forest, puff. Right, puff. Small black and white mushrooms foreshadow an enormous 2-foot mushroom with red spots growing in this darkened corner of the forest. Okay, so there's some kind of mushroom area with a giant mushroom. And let's say we want to know more about it. So, okay, that's interesting, but what can the deck of signs tell us? Is there anything else interesting going on? Ooh, so Guardian. All right, so yes, I'll just explain this. So each card in the deck has the name, the noun, so the Guardian, but you could also go to the verb. So up the top right, there's a verb on all these cards. So it's a doing word, you know, it's laboring. Yeah, that probably doesn't really work with mushrooms too well. Unafraid, also not so much. Opportunity though, so right, so it's noun, verb, adjective, which is, you know, a more descriptive noun, gives you a bit more nuanced detail. And on the right here is what I call this is like the vibe or the ambience or the tone of the situation. Okay, this is like the general tag for the whatever you're dealing with. So opportunity, some kind of opportunity here. So I like the idea of Guardian and opportunity going together. So maybe the mushrooms, you know, buried at the base of this giant mushroom is some kind of, you know, satchel or chest or something. You can just see a little bit of it sticking out from the ground. Maybe it's, you know, become visible because of recent rains or whatever. So there's this massive mushroom is guarding something, and there's an opportunity to get some kind of treasure out of this mushroom, which is unusual, right? And you probably wouldn't come up with that, you know, on your own. Well, you might, but the deck that's what it's for. It's for these sorts of improvisational moments. So we can try something else. So just say we don't like that one. What do we get? Phoenix. Ooh, whoosh. All right, so the Phoenix, we've got burning, proud renewal. All right, so I think it, maybe occur with burning on this one. So as the party's approaching, the mushrooms, this little mushroom farm or whatever it is, mushroom grove is on fire. Why? I don't know. Maybe there's some other creatures that have set it on fire for some reason, or maybe it's a natural wildfire, but that's a bit of a surprise. And, the mushrooms are giving off some kind of smoke because they're burning. And maybe, the characters are going to get a bit of a hit of a magic mushroom. I don't know. But something fun could definitely come out of that.
I don't like that. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Put your tongue in your mouth and close it. What are you doing? Stop it. Actually, that's not bad. All right, here we go. Are you guys on drugs?
So that's another example. Or let's go another one. Ooh, the madman. So actually that works well with mushrooms in a way because, perhaps, hidden away, some of these mushrooms here are a particular kind of, very rare shroom that can cause some kind of madness if it's eaten. So, if one of the players has got decides to search around, they might find that particular, batch of mushrooms and harvest some of those to use them as a poison later, or maybe it causes confusion, or anyway, there's a few different things that could be. Or wandering is also a nice one. So you might be, in the mushroom farm, some other creature wanders in just as the party are coming in. They also get some kind of creature coming in. Yeah, so that's not a bad example. I will just explain. So on each card, you've got the noun, you've got the verb, you've got the adjective, and you've got the sort of tone or the ambience style tag. But each card also has a compass style symbol. So if it mattered, if your party was walking along, this has happened to me many times, the party's going along, there's a random encounter. Okay, which direction did it come from? Well, it comes from over here on the east. So this guy's going to cop it, this poor priest. Or the other thing that I should just point out is there's also these are time symbols. So if you want to know the random time of something, you can draw from the deck. So a dark sun means it's later in the day. So that would be sort of noon through to 6 p.m. And then there's also a light sun. So dark moon is later in the night. So from midnight to 6 a.m. So the witching hour. Then I've got another dark moon. So light sun is early in the day, so 6 a.m. to midday, or dawn to midday. And there is also, of course, a light moon somewhere. Here it is, light moon. So light moon is early evening, so from 6 p.m. through to midnight, something like that. And if you need even more detail about more specific, if that sort of shift style timing is not specific enough, just roll a d6. So here we've got early evening, so 6 p.m. to midnight. We've got a 4, so it's going to be 10 p.m. Around 10 p.m. this event happens. Yeah, so that is the deck of signs. Hope this all makes sense. Probably doesn't. Happy to answer questions. And have a good one. And I should just reiterate that none of these oracles, neither the bones nor the deck of signs, is required to play Tales of Argosa. Okay, we're going to include them as part of the Kickstarter, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully in November. I'm not sure. Hopefully before the end of the year. You don't need either of these oracles to play Toa. You can just substitute percentile checks and the deck of signs, which is your open question oracle. Obviously you don't need that at all. You can just roll on random tables if you prefer. But I think for me, this sort of extra tactile experience, I just really love it. And particularly with solo play, it's really awesome to be able to get these little improvisational prompts. But even for group play, it really, I do feel like it helps facilitate and encourage that sort of emergent play style, because it's taking these decisions out of the GM's hands, not entirely, of course, because you still have to interpret these things, but it's making the world more independent of the GM, who's really the referee for this between the setting and the players, right? But yeah, by having these prompts and these some yes no decisions made for you, and getting these thematic sort of story style prompts coming from the deck, it's just like I don't know. There's just lots of opportunities here for improvisational play, and the players, everyone at the table. This is the most important thing for me. Everybody at the table gets to be surprised by what happens, right? When the GM is playing, they really are playing because they're rolling these dice to find out what happens. They're drawing these cards for the extra bit of guidance about how to interpret things or to bring in external elements to the play session. I just think that they're really fun tools that you can use. But yes, main point is you don't need these. They're just bonus tools for your toolbox. And there's something that we're going to throw into the Kickstarter for Tales of Argosa whenever that is. All right, enough from me. Thank you for watching. Any questions? Ask down below, of course, and I will be sure to answer all of them. All right, later, dudes. Bye.